Hello everyone, this is Tristan here from 𝗠𝗥𝗡𝗧, and today we will be going over indices for market update and see what we have on TA basis for the upcoming week and potential targets, maybe reversal points for the new month. So let's get started. So we'll jump onto ES to begin with, and we'll just do the monthly, weekly, daily, and if need be, we can go down to the 4-hourly, but just basically get the narrative sorted for the upcoming week. We'll just go down to the daily at first, go see NASDAQ, build some confidence, and then I'll do a deep dive if need be. So looking at the monthly time frame, we have been consistently pushing up for last couple of years, and then we had this pullback in. Now we are starting to push up. So when we look at this pullback, we do have some internal swing range points, so we will just mark that out. Most importantly will be somewhere around here. It says 4,808. Second one I see here is 4631, and the third one that was just in the last in this month, which we conquered, was 4327. So that gives us our buy side liquidity on the monthly time frame, and I'm using the continuous contract, so we have a bit more clarity on the price action, and we do not have those choppy bars basically. Marking out the sell side liquidity, we do have one swing point here, which we'll just mark that out as green, and the other one we look at is around here. So these are two main swing points on the sell side, three main points on the buy side, just to get ourselves into the right narrative standpoint. Now this pullback, we are pushing up, so we can mark the range out into 50% for our premium and discount tool on the fib, and now we are definitely pushing up into the premium side of the range, and we can mark out our monthly order block. So this will be our monthly order block. So that's that. So we have almost breached above the 50% of the monthly order block as well. So just to get a bit more narrative on that, let's see here, and we can have a look. So we have basically breached above. Let's see what are the ranges that we are breaching into. So nope, that doesn't. Oh, sorry, we'll just reverse that and let me have a look. So 886 a little bit too far at this point, but we are definitely closing into the 764 range. So we may definitely see some reversal from there down into the range, and then we can start pushing back further up. So that's just marking out the ranges in the order block itself. So we are considering this white candle as the order block because we pushed down, pushed up, and then we broke the lows just around here on the monthly. And this was a significant low that was taken out. We had bearish displacement, push up, doji candle for the month, and then we had a bigger displacement candle for the next month of June 2022. So definitely have heaps of shorts that have opened up here now, which will get filled. We can impulse up into these ranges. We can pull down, chop around here, and then impulse up, or we can just impulse up. Either thing can happen. But just to get a bit more narrative, this is what we are looking at on the monthly. Dropping down into the weekly time frame, what do we have here? So we'll fix our lines a little bit first. This was the monthly breaker structure that we had around here. This is the monthly time, the weekly time frame. So there we go. That's better. So based on the weekly time frame, we do have some internal swing range liquidity that was taken out on this push down. When we started to push up, we didn't take the structure out just yet, but then eventually around the first week of June, we took out that structure, and we were expecting a push down, but that didn't happen. We started to impulse up, a small pullback, we impulsed up, and now we have also swept or sort of poked a little bit above the high of that weekly candle that was put in here. So our narrative is saying that we still have some more price action to the upside. This is the overall bearish monthly order block, and we can refine that on the weekly. This one will be our main extreme order block on the weekly, which we have just tapped. So we may see some decent reaction when we get into the range. So that will be something like we can get in here 50% mitigation and push down for a further push up, or we can just mitigate and push further down into these areas, and we can start forming some structure for the further push up. But this is what we have here, and marking out further important zones. In this last push up, we came back down. So this is a high that was swept. This is the low that still remains, and on order flow analysis, we see that demand is still in control. So one more important thing that I will mark out here will be this fair value gap that is just right around the swing high that was taken out on the monthly. So we can remove that, and this order block will become an inversion order block if we come down and we continue pushing up. Or if it's about to be broken, then we may go further deeper into this order block, and then we can start seeing some choppy price action to the further upside. But that's an important zone that I will be marking out, and I will set some alerts in there. So maybe just a tap of that, so that comes at around 43, 49. So what do we see when we come down to that price level? Just remove that to keep prices clean. This was a breaker structure on the weekly, and we have another one which is just right around here. So this is another fair value gap that is on the weekly time frame. So that holds significant importance, because this was the initiation of the price action. So we pushed up, we came back down, chopped, and then we imposed up. So this is the area where we had the origin of the move. This area holds a lot of buy orders just around here, so we can potentially see a further dip into this area to mitigate this order block for further price action. Or if we are showing weakness, we can further dip down and into this larger range. But that's a bit too far at the moment. We will play it level by level. At this point, these are the two interest zones that I have in mind, and this is the range that we are in on the weekly. And dropping down to the daily, what do we see? Daily, there we go. So we can zoom further into this, and this was the zone that was on the weekly and also on the monthly, some significant levels here. See, this fair value gap works directly into the new week opening gap. So which was the week we closed around here, and we imposed up the next day on Friday, and then we have just stabilized and pulled back and respected this gap up. So this gap up will eventually get filled. So this area is definitely something that will be of interest for us in the future, because that is perfectly a void, because we can just rename that to void, because there isn't no price action there. We just have an impulse up, and there was no trading. There's no trading that has happened in this area. So eventually, these are some zones that price will come down and mitigate, and that comes into a good confluence on the daily when we see that it's inside the discount zone of the fair value gap. So this will be the premium zone, and this will be the discount zone. So this will be an important zone that will be respected eventually if need be. But here, this also creates an important zone based on daily time frame. I'll just remove this. Because this was our sell to buy, and hence this becomes a breaker block as well. And I have posted some videos on that as well, because this is an important zone where price pushed up. We did a mitigation of this fair value gap around here, and then we pushed through. So which means that here we have some impulsive price action. Order flow analysis says that demand is stepping in, and then we are still pushing for higher prices. So we will keep a note of this weekly order block as well, and see what price does when we get to this 4,500 level, and see what the reaction looks like when we get up there. So looking at this range, if you do not consider the void, we just have this. We have a range up here, so we can just mark this range out like this, and we have a deep mitigation of that range around here, and then price pushed up. So that seems like we have a fair discount level mitigation. So we have enough impulsive price action to push price through. Looking at this impulsive price action, this was a balanced price range where price this was only sell side, and then it was balanced out by the buy side. So we can just mark that out as purple. There you go. So that's the balanced price range that we can also look at as continuation price action. So if price comes down into these levels and we can see some bullish price action, we can definitely target the 50% of, so 50% of the weekly order block. But be careful, just be careful doing that when you are longing it, because there is still heaps of downside that needs to be mitigated. So just continuation plays will be of high probability when you have more price action and bullish confluence with displacement. So we can just also mark out, there we go. We can also mark out zones like this. So 43.68 should be respected. Price can come down in here and start forming structure, and we can see here, and we want to see some bullish price action, mitigation, and then continuation. So be careful when you long it, but I'm hoping for the next week to be a continuation into the weekly order block, eventually targeting the 46.31 area on the daily. Okay, looking at Nasdaq to build some confluence, we'll just jump into that, and we'll go back to the 1 month time frame. Nasdaq is doing pretty much the same thing, but also again we have mitigated, we have actually mitigated the high of this this swing point broken above closed, and we have also entered this fair value gap on the monthly. So definitely we may see some price exhaustion when trend exhaustion, when price will go into this rejection block, and then we can see some further down price, and or we may start targeting these areas up here. But marking out the monthly time frame, this can become the red. So this was the 15,260 zone on the monthly that was tapped. We can also mark out the buy side on this, the extreme buy side, which is this 16,767, and this was taken out. So we can just look at it as just break a structure on the monthly, and it also adds into as a confluence around here, which works into the fair value gap. So that becomes a unicorn entry, because a unicorn entry is basically like this: price pushes up, comes down, pushes through that, and then price is still around here. So unicorn entry basically are formed when a swing point is taken out, and during that that price action, we have a fair value gap that is formed right in that swing point area, which gives us confidence that eventually price can come down, mitigate that, and go push up, or if we can come into further deeper confluence of PDRAs, that can happen. But this is something that I will be making a video on. Works great if you have heaps of confluence building up, but you will need price action around here when we have a mitigation of the fair value gap. But yeah, that's a different thing. So fair value gap on the daily, on the monthly, great confluence. We have a swing point, great confluence, and then price is also mitigating the equal highs on the monthly around 15K. So we may see some further price action into the upside, but yeah, we'll work with the price action that we are given at this point. So see, we have done a mitigation. We have not closed above the 50%. Just zoom in a little bit. So we did poke our head into the fair value gap, but we did not close above the 50%. So that is still a significant level that we need to be mindful of. If we have a closure above it, then we are definitely targeting further price action to the upside. So that was around what, 15,375. So that was an area that was an important zone. Okay, so dropping down to the weekly time frame, what do we see? Look at that. We do have that's that, and this was the monthly time frame breaker structure that happened, and this is the fair value gap on the monthly, which can be split down into a couple important fair value gaps. I'll just mark this as a different one into the weekly. So that's the weekly fair value gap within the monthly, and this was the another one that was formed. So two fair value gaps that are within the monthly time frame. One is in the premium fair value gap in the monthly time frame, which is in the premium, and which is one is in the discount. Discount works off as a confluence with this breaker as well. So this breaker will be a vital zone where price will eventually come down, mitigate, and maybe push up, or we can see a breakthrough, but that's later on. We can see a fair value gap just around here. This will be a first indication that price may come down, and this will be our trigger that we are seeing reversals of 14,853. So you see mitigation of the fair value gap. We push down, we come down to the deeper zone, and then we push up, but we do not close. We are struggling to close above it, but we do have bullish price action. So just something to be mindful of. Looking at price actions just around here, we see a push down, and then we have this fair value gap that still remains pending. So that's there, and that's the weekly. We can make it as the high. So that's the red supply. We can see mitigation of this, and then we can see further price action to the downside. So something like this, and then push down. Or we can just impulse up. Anything can happen, but this is the swing that we are playing with. We'll see what happens here in the range. Either we break above the swing, so we look for continuation, or if we break above and start seeing displacement of the lows, we look for entries. Or if we just break below this below this low, then we may see some price action, pull back, and then we'll look for short entries. So that's how I like to play price action. Keeps you in the range, avoids from running into trades and a lot of other things. So right now, this is the only time. This is the only price action that I'm. This is the only price action that I'm working with. Whatever happens above or below, I'll work with it accordingly. And also one more thing we can mark out is just at the moment we do not have a confirmation of the high being intact, but for now we just mark it as this high. We have only a minor pullback. If we see a deeper pullback into the 50%, then this becomes a swing, and you would definitely want to take long entries in here in the discount, or you want to take short entries into the discount once price starts breaking down these significant levels and starts breaking down below the fair value gaps. Dropping down into the daily, what do we see? So daily price action, there we go here. This was the weekly fair value gap. This was our another weekly fair value gap, and this was the other fair value gap on the weekly. And this was the weekly order block that we described, and we can refine that into another continuation order block. Just around here, you see this is the order block that can be refined for the daily, just here and down here. I like to take the swing, so price pushed down, pushed up, and let's do this. Price pushed down, pushed up, took the low, and then we had this first indication taking out. We respect that, and then we start pushing up. So something to be mindful of. We can remove this, and we can make this as our daily order block. There we go. And that's in the deep discount zone for NASDAQ. Okay. Again, we see another thing here, which is the void that we just saw in even ES. So something to be mindful of. We have an impulse price action, so heaps of longs have been opened, so they would like to distribute it further up. They are pushing this down. Market makers are pushing the price down for maybe further accumulation of their longs to the upside, and then we have other targets that we have marked out around here. So be careful of that. So if you're taking short entries, mark certain swing points, take profits, take partials, cover your stop losses without risking too much into the market where the market can reverse on you and you can incur losses that you do not necessarily need to. So this was my overview for NASDAQ and also for ES. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and leave a comment down below, see if you want me to go into further detail. And until then, happy trading, take care. Speak to you guys next time.